The Tommy Campbell Show. Donald Trump has been forcing everyone to wear matching shoes, giving members of his cabinet ill-fitting Florsheim dress shoes, including Marco Rubio, who looks like he could be driving his pair. They're so big. Trump often signs the shoe boxes or includes a personalized note. It's basically a participation trophy that gives you blisters. Rubio looks like a kid who found his dad's work shoes. It is the perfect metaphor for his new role, trying to fill shoes that were never meant for him. This entire situation is sending them away from wardrobe and into uniform territory for the wannabe dictator playing dress up with his real-life action figures. Only 2 dolls for you, but this guy has the entire set. The internet has been having a lot of fun with this one, and honestly, I don't know what's more embarrassing, the shoes or the fact that they're all terrified to take them off. This is so awesome. I love the Trump clown shoes. It's accurate. It fits. The crazy oversized ones, they're not far off. The baby feet. What are those? I mean, come on. John Fugelsang had to clear things up because people keep misquoting something he said about Stephen Miller. I just want to point out that I have never called Stephen Miller Satan's butt plug. What I actually said was that Stephen Miller's head looks like Satan's butt plug, and I wish people would stop twisting my words. This cracked me up, so I joined the fun and made this graphic for John. Ah, look at that. The Florsheim shoes sticking out. And what's that on the floor? Are those tears? But the story behind these shoes is even weirder because Trump is seemingly obsessed with his cankle holsters and thinks it's important for all to have them.
Today, I'm in the Oval Office with the President of the United States and our great Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and we're talking about something really, really important. And the President kind of holds up his hand and says, no, hold on a second. There's something much more important. Shoes. And he peers over the Resolute desk and he says, Marco, JD, you guys have shoes. We gotta get you better shoes. So he goes out and grabs a catalog. There happens to be another politician in the room. I won't say who, and you'll find out why in a second. He's asking for our size so that he can make sure that we get the right shoes. And he asked this other politician, I'm gonna get you some shoes too. And so he says, Marco, what's your shoe size? And Marco's apparently an 11.5. He says, JD, what's your shoe size? My shoe size is 13. And he asked this politician, who I won't embarrass, what his shoe size is, and he says 7. President, he kind of leans back in his chair and says, you can tell a lot about a man by his shoe size.
So JD Vance is on stage, and he basically admits that while they were supposed to be discussing the Secretary of State and national security, the president held up his hand and said, no. There's something more important. Shoes. Imagine being the leader of the free world peering over the Resolute desk, and the first thing you say is, Marco, JD, your footwear sucks. That is the official diplomatic feedback. Then he doesn't grab a briefing book on the Middle East he's destroying. He grabs a shoe catalog for an impromptu shopping and Carnival Barker sizing session right there in the Oval Office. And then we get the mystery guest. Some unnamed politician in the room admits he's a 7. A size 7. Oh no. JD won't say who it was to spare him the embarrassment, but Trump hits him with the ultimate playground line. You can tell a lot about a man by his shoe size, you can. That's a lot of manhood talk from a guy that was called out for having a tiny mushroom. But Marco has a long history of height-enhancing footwear. Remember this from 2016? Those aren't lifts, they're high heels. Did he borrow them from Gene Simmons? When you use lifts or high-heeled inserts, you often have to go up a couple sizes to make room for the extra padding and to keep your foot from being crushed against the top of the shoe. If he's a true size 10, ordering an 11.5 is what you do to hide a 2-inch lift. Marco Rubio is 5'9". The average shoe size for that height is about a 9 or a 10, but JD Vance says Rubio's wearing an 11.5, which makes sense if he had his special inserts to upgrade him from little Rubio. But these didn't come with little chunks of 2x4s, which means either Trump has finally started believing Marco's height, or he didn't want to splurge for the deluxe package. Trump probably guessed he was a 12, and Marco was too terrified to correct him. He's just sliding around in these loafers like a hot dog down a hallway.
Hey, Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore?
Look at Lindsey Graham hustling away, fleeing in those Trump shoes. He's on fire.
Subscribe.
These guys are sending people to war and they're scared of their own shoes. I mean, nobody loves to be uncomfortable. I think we all got a sweater from that weird relative that was 2 sizes off in a crazy pattern, but you had to wear it when you saw him. We're visiting Aunt Janice. Put the sweater on. Put the sweater on. Here's Sean Duffy sliding around in his stupid shoes. I guess they are easier to take off when he hits the monkey bars with RFK Jr. at Terminal 2. Here's the thing, Trump keeps calling them incredible American shoes, but they're almost entirely manufactured in China and India. Because of this, Florsheim was at one point paying a 145% tariff on them. The Wacro Group, the parent company of Florsheim, filed a lawsuit in December 25, just a few months ago, specifically challenging Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs. Tom Florsheim Jr. says the tariffs have been a disaster. The company's lost over $16 million to the levies and had to raise shoe prices by 10% just to keep up. Again, you pay the tariffs. Trump gifting shoes from a company that is actively warning that his own tariffs will crush their business is just bonkers. He's literally handing his cabinet the evidence of his own economic failures. It's all fun and games until you realize this is the guy calling the shots. He's standing there in the Oval Office acting like an over-medicated Foot Locker manager guessing the wrong shoe sizes. No wonder this guy is blowing up schools. What's left of his tiny mind is leafing through a shoe catalog. He's obsessing over men's feet while launching missiles with the precision of a drunk uncle playing cornhole in the dark. Drunk uncle playing cornhole in the dark is also Lindsey Graham's search history. While Trump is acting like a Timu Al Bundy, the Pentagon is tying on lobster bibs so they don't get drawn butter on their stripes. In 1 month, Pete Hegseth's Department of War spent $6.9 million on lobster tails and $15.1 million on ribeye steak. That's over $22 million on surf and turf. Thanks to Trump's war, gas prices are soaring. Farmers are dealing with fertilizer shortages because of instability in the Strait of Hormuz, threatening global supply. And his ridiculous tariffs are making fertilizer coming from right next door, Saskatchewan, unaffordable. But at the Pentagon, the crustaceans are always fresh. Hegseth isn't focused on lethality. He's focused on whether the ribeye is medium rare. How long before he splurges and sends Salt Bay over to season the lobsters? Hey, careful, Don Jr., the white stuff everywhere. It's not what you think. And don't think this is him treating the troops. This isn't about upgrading MREs or fixing moldy barracks. This is the top brass living like kings. Hey, if Kristi Noem can have a luxury plane with a queen bed, we should be eating like royalty. Hegseth just had a wild press conference where he declared the war a major win, but ironically, the guy who's always talking about real men had trouble giving a straight answer.
How many American casualties have there been, and where were the American service members when they were injured?
I mean, it's a bunch of return to duty. So we've had the large majority have gone in for some medical treatment and return to duty. We've had in Kuwait, Jordan, down across the southern flank a little bit, a variety of places, most from one-way attack strikes.
But I want to clarify that. I think what we've tried to do here is clarify
Arabia.
those numbers rather than saying
Yeah.
KIA or WIA wounded. Be more clear about that because the overwhelming majority, almost 90%, thank God, are returned to duty. Minor injuries returned to duty, and so that number can look a certain way, and our job is to add some fidelity to it.
Return to duty, minor injuries, a variety of places. There was no clarification. There was not an actual number there. He said everything but a number, which is a strange way to announce a major win, because when wars are going well, leaders usually have no problem telling you the numbers. But this guy doesn't seem to care about numbers unless it's the ounces of scotch in his glass and the steak on his plate while he's swiping the Pentagon credit card. Apparently, America's too poor to send a soldier to a top-tier school, but rich enough to buy a $100,000 piano for a general's living room. He's cutting billions in non-essential IT and health consulting. They are defunding the education and futures of people in uniform while overfunding the buffet for the people in suits. It's not peace through strength, it's grift through gravy. Speaking of grist, the Melania movie just set a record for the shortest theatrical run. Yes, it's already on streaming. Just one more title you have to wince at while trying to find something decent to watch. For a movie they claimed was a blockbuster and record-breaking, it sure didn't take long to become free with your Prime package. You know, the thing you actually signed up for so you could get ding, fang, boom phone cases and batteries at your door. This might be the only theatrical film where being on your phone was actually encouraged. I mean, everyone was just paid to attend. They didn't actually have to watch the movie. No, you can use your phone, do whatever you want. But now that it's on streaming, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful because you know how that algorithm works. You hover over that bizarre black and white thumbnail just a split second too long and suddenly it thinks you're into marble statues and torpedoes. You know what I mean. Now, Melania is known for those giant hats dressing like Raiden from Mortal Kombat meets Spy vs. Spy, but Trump decided to get in on the action this week too. There was a whole controversy about him wearing a hat at a dignified transfer ceremony for fallen soldiers. But wait, he's not wearing a hat. What's the big deal, Tom? You trying to make stuff up? Well, the big deal is Fox knew it looked so bad that Trump showed up on the tarmac wearing his Made in China campaign merch that they aired an old clip of him without the hat instead. Yes, that's right. The network that had to pay $787 million for lying got caught doing it again. And the correction? They didn't have Hannity lead the show with it. They slipped it in after some weather, saying they had inadvertently aired the wrong video.
All right, Adam, thank you very much. Before we move on, we want to acknowledge a mistake made earlier on our program. During our coverage of yesterday's dignified transfer, we inadvertently aired video from an older dignified transfer instead of the ceremony that took place yesterday. We deeply regret the error and extend our respect and condolences to the service members' families.
Inadvertently. Yeah, because when Fox News accidentally shows the wrong footage, it just always happens to be the one that makes Trump look better. Funny how that works. Outside the Fox editing room, reality looks a little different. You can hide a hat in a clip, but you can't hide a war this stupid. Qatar provides 36% of the world's helium, and on March 2nd, they halted production because Iranian strikes hit their LNG plants. Helium is a byproduct of gas processing. No gas, no helium. Trump is out there telling us the war is ahead of schedule, but meanwhile, Qatar has officially run out of helium. Now, I'm not saying it's a calculated move, but it's pretty convenient that the guy who hates being mocked just happened to create a global shortage of the one thing required to float a 20-foot baby Trump balloon over a protest. If you can't stop the mockery, just ground the inflatables by proxy.
The war is ahead of schedule. Everything is going perfectly. The war is terrific.
By the way, that's not AI.
Not in effect.
I do all the voices here old school. I make this independent show on my own. If you love what I do, consider leaving me a tip, become a member for extras, hit up my referral links, and stream my stand-up on Spotify. Trump says we won and claims the Iranian military has nothing left. Tell that to the crew of the Mayuri Neri trying to flee their sinking ship while Trump is busy guessing shoe sizes. You and I are at home sorting recycling and trying to bike to work, save the planet. And this idiot's out here acting like the war is finished while ships are still getting blown up in one of the most fragile marine ecosystems on Earth. We're rinsing out yogurt containers while this situation is turning into a ticking time bomb that could wreck coral reefs and mangrove forests for decades. And by the way, it doesn't even have to be an oil tanker. Any ship going down dumps fuel, chemicals, and debris straight in the water. Do you like your shrimp with that inferno boat flavor? Me neither. And now Hegseth says we don't need to worry about the Strait. Right, because when mines are floating around and ships are exploding, that's usually when everyone relaxes. It's not just tankers. Refueling aircraft are going down. The Canadian side of the base in Kuwait are getting hit. And RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus just got hit by a drone strike. I've done at least 100 shows in Cyprus for the troops over the years. Best gigs of my life. Been to RAF Akrotiri many times. I've literally stood on that tarmac, the same base that just got hit by a drone strike thanks to Trump. There you go, on the runway with the red arrows. For some reason that day, I was wearing this McDonald's shirt. I'm not even like McDonald's. I guess I got a deal at TJ Maxx, standing next to top-tier jets looking like the assistant manager of a drive-thru. These people had to be evacuated and are on edge while fighter jets scramble to take out more drones. I've gigged for civvies and troops in Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, the UAE. These people care a lot about those waters because a lot of their livelihoods depend on them. Trump says the strait is open and tells shipping companies they need to show courage. Courage. These are mines. This isn't tipping back some weird mystery shot your buddy shook up at 2 a.m. using the bottom of 4 bottles. These are enormous vessels carrying hundreds of millions in cargo and human lives. It's easy to talk about courage from a golf cart while your caddy sinks another putt, but remember, Trump's own MAGA boat parade managed to sink itself in a calm lake in Texas without a single mine or underwater drone in sight. If his most loyal captains can't navigate a no-wake zone, maybe we should stop taking maritime advice from the guy. We're biking to work and using paper straws, and he's turning 21 billion liters of crude into target practice. Ridiculous. I'm sure a few of you are hitting the town this weekend doing some early St. Patrick's Day drinking. You know, the logic, if we go out on Saturday, then we won't do much on Tuesday, okay? We'll just go for one. go for one, and then you end up having a Guinness and a Jameson, and a Guinness and a Jameson. All right, it's still going to happen. It's still going to happen. So just make the best of it. I think this is a fun holiday that just doesn't get enough love, you know? Christmas decorations go up after Halloween sometimes. We should do this with St. Patrick's Day. Get the green lights up in February, put inflatable leprechauns on the front lawn, and have the Irish Rovers, the Pogues, and U2 playing in every single grocery store for 6 weeks straight. You can't go in a Costco without hearing this stuff. Just imagine a full month of Guinness stew and soda bread. No stress, no gift shopping. Just 6 weeks of wearing green and pretending you know the lyrics to the Rattlin' Bog. I'm just saying, it could be fun. Do with your inability to copy his voice, you're even more irritating and in out. By going to another YouTube channel. By do and in out. Sometimes I wish I'd have to try and decipher what the mouth breathers are trying to say to me, but the stupid Da Vinci Code comments are definitely entertaining and telling. I do voices here old school, no AI. I have heart and flaws. If you want carbon copy, then you're in the wrong place. My impressions may have not delivered for you, but I'm sorry you were ever delivered. MAGA tears. Tommy Campbell, hush, Tommy. Men are talking. How do you spell my name 2 different ways in the same sentence? This was 7 words, and you couldn't get it right. I'm guessing the men you converse with are still wearing Velcro shoes and struggling with a 2-piece puzzle. If your special club is planning on taking over the world, maybe take a break from the divorce proceedings with your cousin wife and trade in that dented Ford Topaz for a speak and spell. MAGA tears. Thanks to Trump's war, gas prices are soaring. Farmers are dealing with fertilizer. Even weirder because Trump is seemingly obsessed with his cankle holster. Cankle holsters. I came up with that, and it every time I see it, it cracks me up. Spread it far and wide. Cankle holsters. He flies salt bait over to sprinkle the steaks. Careful, Don Jr., that white stuff everywhere isn't what you think. Oh my gosh, look at all this. This is the best meal ever.
I can confirm the Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe.